Grown-up conversations, as ever on this show, with people who know their stuff. So it's a pleasure to welcome back Christina Rabatsite. She is an energy market expert, CEO of Papaya, a tech startup in the renewable energy space. Welcome back to you. Ross Dornan, Market Intelligence Manager at Offshore Energies. He's with us. Claire Jackson, the CEO at Hydrogen UK. Welcome to both of you. And last, by no means least, we can't keep her away, Jasmine Birtles, MissMoneyMagpie.com. Here she is. Let's talk to you first, Ross. What do you make of this energy security strategy? Is there much in it that we didn't already know? Is it mostly presentational?
I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really ambitious. And I think the right thing to do, and I think the strategy aims to do this, is to limit our exposure to international markets as much as possible, because that's what's driving some of the security issues we're having and some of the affordability issues we're having. The UK is really blessed to have such diversity of energy resources, from oil and gas through our wind resources, our nuclear potential, our hydrogen potential. And the right thing to do is to make the most of them. However, this strategy, I think, is ambitious in its pace of delivery and what it's trying to achieve. And what we need to do is to digest it a bit more and see how the industry can work really closely with the government to make it a reality, to attract the investment that's going to be needed to achieve this, and to make sure that the capabilities are in place across British companies to make the most of that investment and keep as much of it here in the UK as possible, because this is a huge opportunity, not just for energy security, but also for British manufacturing bases as well, looking longer term.
Claire Jackson, CEO at Hydrogen UK. Some viewers and listeners may not be aware, but of course, a lot of British companies are already looking at hydrogen energy, using electrolysis, clean energy to do the electrolysis to create the hydrogen that can then be used in various forms in engines. JCB are at the cutting edge of this, one of our thoroughbred firms. Did you see anything in this energy security strategy that you didn't know before? Are you assured that the government is now going to take hydrogen, for instance, more seriously?
Yeah, so we were really pleased to see the government double down on its commitment to hydrogen and double the production capacity target that we're looking at by 2030 from 5 gigawatts to 10 gigawatts. Now, hydrogen is one of the key solutions that we have for tackling emissions from the energy sector. And if we sort of think of it a little bit like a sort of clean fuel that doesn't have any carbon in it, that can be used across the energy sector. It can be used in industry for things like steel production, glass production, automotive production. It can also be used in transport, particularly for some of those larger vehicles that are very hard to electrify, like trucks, lorries, ships, planes. And it can also be piped to our homes and burnt in hydrogen boilers to deliver zero carbon heat. So this new target is really important for the industry because it will allow us to deliver more carbon emissions more quickly, and critically, it will allow us to bring down the cost of hydrogen quicker so that it can become affordable for all of these different applications.
As long as it's so-called clean hydrogen made from renewable hydrogen, or what some people call yellow hydrogen made from atomic energy. I know the French are specialising in that, but we'll come back to you. Christina, what do you make of this? Is it just presentational? And the same question to you.
I am very pleased that we're finally looking at sort of longer term strategies, because that's what needed to happen. But coming from renewable industry, I am very disappointed about the onshore wind decision.
More consultation that I referred to. Yes,
exactly.
You think that'll slow it down?
It's not as positive as it could have been for wind onshore, and it's disappointing that the reasons for it is just calling it an eyesore for not building it. It's I think it would have really reduced the bills short term and given us a real boost now rather than having to wait 5 or 10 years for the changes.
And what do you think of what Claire said about hydrogen? As you know, when we've talked in the past, I'm quite enthusiastic about hydrogen as well. Do you buy that? I mean, this is really your area.
Yep, hydrogen, it's definitely the future. Lithium-ion is not going to get us there. We need longer-term storage.
And you need lithium in the batteries for electric cars, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And hydrogen, yes, very, very happy. And maybe we'll need even more of it. Hopefully the targets will increase year after year.
Jasmine, what do you make of this, both from a kind of economic and a political point of view?
Well, you know, the first point about it really for the consumer, which is what I deal with a lot, is it's of no use right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be, well, at least 3 years, probably 5 years before.
As Kwasi Kwarteng admitted to his credit, the business
yes.
energy secretary.
He did. And you know, on the one hand, it's understandable that people are throwing bricks at the government, but really it's the government 10 years ago that should have been dealing with this. And the thing is that I think a lot of MPs have known that they should have done it 10 years ago. We should. I'm very glad actually to hear about the nuclear plants being set up, because we are using.
Labour said no, we need no more nuclear, didn't we, in their 97 manifesto?
Well, absolutely. I think it's shown that was wrong, because honestly, I think nuclear is the only way to produce enough energy to cover what we are using.
70% of France's electricity famously, and their fuel bills aren't rocketing nearly as much as ours. Let's go back to you, Ross. How real do you think the government's commitment is to speed up the issuance of those oil and gas drilling licences in the North Sea? As I said in my opening remarks, extraction of North Sea oil and gas has roughly halved since the year 2000. Can we expect a quick reversal in that? Can we reverse that quickly?
I think there are options to really make the most of our domestic oil and gas resources, but it really comes down to how much we are able to invest in the industry and our ability to mobilise the capital into the sector and to attract investment to the UK, because this is a competitive global market for investment across the oil and gas sector. Government support is crucial. We've had some really important and helpful shows of support from the UK government in recent months. What we've been saying is that it's important that support endures. And so it's really, really good and helpful to see it with the role of oil and gas being recognised within the energy strategy today. We've got a few different views on how the oil and gas production from the UK is likely to evolve in the next few years. Really, it's all about managing our rate of decline. We're a mature basin. As you said, it's halved within the last 20 years, and it is likely to continue to decline. If we don't invest in our own resources, though, it's probably going to decline at a rate of something in excess of 15% per year over the remainder of the decade. And that leaves us more exposed to the international markets, because we're still going to be using a lot of oil and gas despite the measures within this strategy. But if we do invest in opening up new resources, and things like the licensing round commitment today help, and some of the commitments to accelerating new projects help, it means we can manage our production at a rate of decline of something in the region of 5% per year over the remainder of the decade. And that means it will be less exposed to countries like Russia or some of the Middle Eastern OPEC countries on our domestic energy security. And it means that we're making the most of our natural resources. And it's not just about the energy security benefits of that oil and gas, it's the economic contributions, it's our tax contributions, and it's also providing the companies a really solid foundation to allow them to diversify their investments, their skills and their expertise into cleaner forms of energy in the future.
Bring in Claire Jackson. We're about to go to the break. We will carry on this important discussion after the break. But Claire, you heard what Christina said there. You know that I'm pretty enthusiastic about hydrogen. We often talk about it on this show. How can you do more to kind of promote it? It seems to be, to me, the kind of Cinderella solution. It always seems to be way behind electric vehicles and other, what I think are far less promising technologies.
Well, hydrogen is just a bit of the sort of new kid on the block. Although some of these solutions have been around for a while, we're now just getting to the point where they're starting to be commercialized and they're starting to appear on people's driveways and in people's homes. So it's still sort of early days, but we need to really sort of take on that responsibility as an industry. You know, hydrogen is going to touch every part of our energy system, every part of our society, and we need to make sure that we are bringing people along on this journey so that they understand the benefits that hydrogen can bring, not only to the way that they're currently using energy or transport or heat, but also in terms of the jobs that it's going to create in the UK as well. You know, the UK is not the only one that's noticed that there's a big opportunity in hydrogen. Many countries are looking at hydrogen as one of the sort of key decarbonisation solutions, but also as a key economic opportunity. It's estimated that the hydrogen market will be worth $2.5 trillion by 2050 and supporting 30 million jobs worldwide. And we want to see as many of those as possible created here in the UK. At Hydrogen UK, we've estimated that we could see up to 75,000 jobs created in the hydrogen space by 2035. But we need to move fast and we need to go further.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.